Alright, so I'm going to try to do a tabletop video. I'm not necessarily very good at these. I don't really have the lighting or the camera expertise to make a tabletop video look really good. I'm hoping that it'll come out okay, just simply because I didn't feel like trying to film this on my phone, because then I gotta hold my phone and it jiggles around and everything. I figure this way I can at least use a tripod. But anyway, on Tuesday, I went to Roots County Market here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and I picked up 3 new vintage knives, if that makes sense. This one's facing the wrong way here. There we go, that's better. But anyway, so I picked up 3 vintage pocket knives here for $5 a piece, which means all 3 of these knives altogether cost me $15. And I'll get into what's here, but before I get there, what I'm carrying today, I'm carrying the Kershaw Link in blue. I really like this knife. I've been carrying it pretty much all week. And I'm also carrying a Klein Tools electrician's knife, which is kind of okay. It's not on my list of top slip joints as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of an alright knife. I think it would work for an electrician's knife, I assume. And I'm trying to get some experience carrying it so that I can do a review on the knife. But anyway, let's get into the 3 knives that I have here. So starting on the left, the one that I was playing with to try to get to lay down correctly, this is an Imperial Cub Scout knife. And I would try to get it close, but I don't think it's going to focus, because this camera doesn't like to focus on things up close. So I think I'll just stay back down here. But anyway, this is a Cub Scout knife made by Imperial. It has a Wharncliffe blade as the main blade. And then it has a bottle opener / flathead screwdriver that is supposed to lock in place using this brass tab here. But this one doesn't work because I assume the brass tab got bent out of shape. I kind of tried to bend it back, it didn't really work, so it's just not going to lock. And then it also has a reamer or an awl or a punch, or whatever you want to call that, and that one does lock using this brass tab. So you have to move that brass tab aside to unlock it. And it's just one of those kind of cool knives, and as you can see, the main blade's back spring's pretty strong. It's got good snap, and I like the fact that it's a Wharncliffe blade, and it doesn't look like it was used a whole lot. When I got this knife, it was absolutely dull, like duller than a butter knife dull. I sharpened it up a little bit. It's still not as sharp as it could be, but it's sharp enough to use as a knife at this point. I figured for $5 that knife was worth it, because I had seen Tobias on Knife Chats with Tobias, that's what it's called, talk about the Cub Scout knives, and I just happened to find one, and I thought it was cool. I like how the bail is pretty solid, so it'll stay in a position that you leave it in. So I think that's kind of cool. So anyway, that's the Imperial Cub Scout knife. This next knife doesn't have a tang stamp, so I don't know who made it, but it's kind of almost a Stockman pattern. It's got a main clip point blade, a sheep's foot blade, which is one of my favorite blade shapes, as some of you might know, I don't know. So that's cool. It's got a little pen blade then too. Of course, these are all made out of carbon steel, just like the Cub Scout knife. And then it's got a reamer, punch, or awl, depending on what you want to call it. But yeah, this one doesn't have a tang stamp, so I don't know who made it, but it seems really well made, so I'm really surprised it doesn't have a tang stamp. And I'm trying to figure out if these handles were celluloid, I think is what it's called, because it looks like they shrank. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the camera because I can't get too close or it'll be out of focus, but they shrank, like they're a good little bit, maybe a 1/16 of an inch back from the bolsters. I mean, they definitely shrank. So I don't know if this is celluloid or what this is, but I think it's some sort of synthetic material, and it shrank. So kind of makes me think maybe it's celluloid. The clip point's been used quite a bit, sharpened quite a bit. There's no chips in any of these blades or nicks or anything, which is nice because it makes it a lot easier to sharpen when they're not all nicked and chipped up. But I figured that knife was cool and well worth $5 to me, even though it doesn't have a tang stamp on it. I just thought it was cool. And the last out of the three is another Imperial, and this is an Imperial electrician's knife. This is the super cheap, I would imagine, back in the day, version of the Camillus TL29, kind of. Cleaned it up a little bit. It had some serious rust on the blade. I cleaned up all the rust, and now it's just, stained because it is carbon steel. The main blade's really thin. It's a spear point. Doesn't look like it was used a whole lot because, the blade's still pretty much all there, which is nice. It does have a half stop, as you can see. Has the screwdriver blade, just like all electrician's knives. And screwdriver blade's in pretty good condition. I might put a little bit of an edge on that just so it's how it should be, but I might not too. Has the brass liner lock. That works good. Screwdriver blade also has a half stop. And this knife is assembled like most Imperial knives, where it's got the metal tabs that hold the sides of the knife on, kind of like a hubcap on a car's wheel, or something like that. So yeah, this is a very cheaply made version of an electrician's knife. A lot of Imperials are assembled this way, just because I think Imperial was like pretty much the cheapest you could get for pocket knives back in the day, at least for an American-made pocket knife. This Imperial Cub Scout knife is not assembled like that. This is assembled like a normal, traditional knife, where it's bolsters and everything. So, I don't know. Overall, I'm very happy with my 3 purchases that I made on Tuesday. And, the $15 that I spent on all 3 of these knives together. And I figured that they were definitely worth $5 a piece. So anyway, hopefully this video will look pretty good. I don't really know. I'm looking at it right now on my phone. Well, my phone's connected to the camera because I can do that because technology is kind of cool. And it looks kind of dark on the phone, but I don't know, it might look completely different on the computer. But anyway, if you guys have any cool flea market or yard sale finds when it comes to pocket knives, or even anything else that's cool, like old lighters, like padlocks, or tools in general, anything cool, go ahead and tell me about it. I like hearing about stuff like that. Because it gets me motivated to go out to flea markets and yard sales and stuff like that. So anyway, these are the 3 knives that I bought. Also, if you have any idea what this middle knife is, since it doesn't have a tang stamp, let me know. That's going to be it for right now, and I hope you guys have a good day.